Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Puppy Training Principles podcast. I'm Jason, and I'm here with Lorelai. And in this podcast, we help dog owners find solutions to their biggest problems, avoid common training pitfalls, and build the confident, calm canine companion they've always dreamed of. And today, we're here with special guest, Maria, and she worked through our program to train her dog, Winnie. Hello, Maria.
Hey, how's it going?
Going so good. Tell us about your story.
Okay, so our dog story or our life story, they're kind of intertwined. I have 5 kids, and my oldest is a senior in high school, and my youngest is 9. And our youngest has special needs, and we had always intended on getting a service dog, but we just didn't know where to go and didn't know. I've never had a dog, like didn't grow up with one, wasn't the person who went to family parties and was like, loving on other people's dogs. I was a little standoffish. But
Yeah.
And what about
but no, we're not like the immediate dog lovers. We're not anti-dog. We just weren't like, we'd never, other than having a service type dog, we'd never thought about having one as a pet. And probably the biggest deterrent to me was like young example when I was little, right? Like everyone has those experiences where you go to a friend's house and the dog's crazy, or I don't know. It was a turn off. So
when you were little, you didn't like them either. You had bad.
I can't like say this was the singular experience, but I didn't have one that I was like, oh my gosh, I love that dog, except actually, I will say this. I played the harp, and started when I was 5 years old. And the only dog I ever really loved was my harp teacher's dog, who would come and sit in the studio. And it was this golden lab. Anyway, she was so nice. That was the only dog I'd be like, oh, okay, I can pet that dog. So fast forward to this last summer, and the Utah Parent Center reached out to us. Somebody had a dog that had been claimed and then in their litter, and then they, for whatever reason, couldn't come and pick it up. So they contacted the Utah Parent Center and said, we want to give it to a family that has special needs. And they contacted us, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like, this isn't a service dog. But truthfully, at that time, I didn't really know the difference between a true service dog and a therapy dog and like a family dog. I just thought they were all kind of lumped in the same thing. So I talked to the breeder, and I don't know, we just finally decided maybe this would be a good fit for our family. And then we enter Winnie, and she was 12, almost 13 weeks when we got her. So she kind of already been like into the kennel a little bit and stuff. But
breed
that she's a mini golden doodle, and so that was nice because she doesn't shed. And I mean, I don't know. And it's funny because I think we had like 4 days in making this decision, and I did like my intense, like, called every person I knew that had a dog. Would you do it? Would you not? Because, and then I did the stupid thing of like KSL, and I'm like, whoa, these dogs are really expensive. Like, somebody's just gonna gift this to our family. I felt like a huge responsibility that somebody was gifting us.
Yeah, you start looking at the classified ads, and you can see.
Yeah, you're sort of going, oh my gosh, I don't. And such a lovely family, the breeders, we met them, they were great. And then so we got her home, and I just felt this immense like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I don't know. I mean, nothing. Like, we went to PetSmart the day before, and the girl gave us like what we should have, and $200 later we walk out with like, I don't know what, so probably did all of the wrong stuff. And I remember the night before picking her up, like waking up in the middle of the night and like Amazoning, like, what, wait a minute, what do I need that dog that like has a heartbeat that, you put in the kennel? Like, I did nothing. So I was really, really ignorant. But the breeders were super nice and gave us the bag of, Costco food. And I mean, I asked the dumbest questions. I think I asked like, how often do you wash their bowl? Like, how often do you give them a bath? Like, and it was like having a newborn. And then you get home and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. So, but I also
a question I could think of, and I still don't know what I'm doing.
And I talked to all these people. I talked to one trainer type person who told me it was the dumbest idea. Like, I can't even believe you're gonna, put a golden doodle in with a son with autism. Like, she was pretty vocal about how small dogs are good for families like us. And I don't know why, I just sort of was like, oh, well, maybe we just have different personalities. We're just different people, so anyway, gratefully we went on, and we brought her home. And then I realized she had like somewhat of a foundation, and I just didn't want to mess it up. Like, I didn't want to screw it up. So I Googled dog trainers in our area, and you guys popped up, and the reviews were phenomenal. And I called like the next day. I mean, I don't think we'd had her for 24 hours, and Brittany picked up and was like, yeah, we had a cancellation. And I'm like, great, we'll be there. So, because I truly just did not, I had no foundation myself of how to like when you have a child, chances are you've grown up with other kids, or you've at least held a baby before. Like, I had nothing. So that's how we started. And yes. And it worked. It was great.
We started with Puppy.
Yeah, we started with Winnie at 12 and a half, 13 weeks. And she, I must say, she's a really nice, like, we never had to wake up in the middle of the night, because she was probably older than maybe what people usually get if they get, I don't know. It seems like they get them younger. So she, and I probably did this wrong, but I also, the first night, put her in the kennel, because they said she sleeps in the kennel. And I was sort of like, peace out, I'll see you in the morning. Like, please let her be alive. And I just kind of thought, my kids, when they were little, like, you'd have the baby monitor going, but you kind of, I don't know. Our kids never slept in our room, so I kind of took the same result of like, my dog doesn't sleep in my room also. So anyway.
That was a good idea.
That was great intuition right there.
Well, there you go. Thank you. Thanks. Because I was, you read all about things and you're thinking, oh my gosh, am I gonna mess it up? I don't know. So,
and we tell people all the time, like, people will say, well, can my dog sleep in my room with me? And the answer is like, yes, but not yet. Like, you need to start without that, so that you can have that, and without it as well if you need it. But if you always start with your dog in your room, then you start getting separation anxiety in a lot of cases. Not always, but in most. So you did it right.
Yes.
Well, I just went with I have my boundaries and you have yours. So there we go. And she's been great. Like, we have never really had, I mean, knock on wood, we're super lucky. We haven't had any anxiety issues. But I also think it's because you guys helped us from like my day one, teaching me how to you gave me confidence. Let's put it that way.
So you basically started with the puppy program end of things. Which we do for dogs that are, when they come home to about 5 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's the puppy phase. And then something switches in a dog's brain. It's like a light switch at about 5 months, 5.5 months, where a dog's just like, I can understand more now. And then we go to more of an advanced training, or where we can help a dog go from, through that adolescent stage and learn to calm down and be peaceful.
Yeah.
That process. So you started with puppy and then went all the way through that stage as well, the more advanced.
Yeah. So we started at the beginning of August, like literally day one of having Winnie, thanks to whoever canceled. And then we just came until the end of November, I think, was our last session, so to speak, or middle of November. Anyway, it was
sounds like it was meant to be.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I said to the trainer, I think I said to Maddie, okay, because I'm a professional musician, I am gone from November, like Thanksgiving till New Year's every night. So this dog has to be like bomb proof by then. Okay. And I think she didn't give me like the 100% guarantee, but she's like, I think we could do it. I think this is gonna be okay. So we had a goal in mind in the sense of we were committed to getting to a certain point,
Yeah.
so.
And those few months, I'm sure, were a lot of work. But if you think of, okay, a few months to be able to have this dog for years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think work is all relative, right? Like, I mean, truthfully, compared to my special needs son, Winnie's work was like a break, comparatively speaking, to our day-to-day routine with him. So it didn't feel like work, but I did really appreciate the guidance and the confidence, and then the reassurance, like when I'd come and I'd be like, okay, I think I'm gonna give her away, and I'd be like, what? Let's talk through this,
Uh-huh.
And that was nice. It was nice to be able to check in with somebody like who could just say, no, you're doing okay, because
Yeah.
I needed that as the person.
Well, and I loved, there's several pictures you would send us and things like that of Winnie with your, and just, I mean, that touches my heart. That's why we want to do what we do, is we want quality of life and people's home life to be better. And this experience of a dog to be an amazing experience and the dog they dreamed of instead of a nightmare. And for so many people come with a nightmare and they say, this is the problem. But I love the pictures of your son being with Winnie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, like, so he's been at special needs hospital, like trainers and primary children's and all, like his whole life. And every single time a dog would come, the therapy dog would come in, he would just freeze and freak out. Like, and I'd have to politely be like, oh, thank you, but no, back away. Like, and so we really understood that in order for Winnie to have a place in our family, she had to understand that she, has a place, but she can't be the center of attention every time, because unfortunately that spot was filled, So, and so she was great because she, like, by learning place and everything, like she learned really early on to be, really accepting of Dawn and that. So, and initially he didn't even want to be in the same room with her. Like he would not, he would sit on one spot on the couch if she was out of the kennel. Like it wasn't going to happen. And then some after probably mid-October, so 2 months maybe, that one night all of a sudden he like got brave enough to put his foot like on her foot, and I think I sent you guys that video, and it was like, oh my gosh, what is happening, so it was a huge help for everyone, like to see progress in any way, so anyway, yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you were talking about some points where you had to come into training and be like, I'm ready to give this dog away. Can you?
Yeah. And I'm gonna be completely honest and say I still am having moments where I'm like, this is a really well-trained dog now. I'm sure somebody else would really love this dog, right? Because I mean, that's just the reality as the mom, that I'm like taking her out, in the morning and at night. And it's one more person that I'm constantly like, well, is she fed? Is she, so sometimes yeah. So sometimes I'm still thinking that, but no, I think there was never we were super lucky. I think I have nothing to compare to, but I think we were super lucky that Winnie was pretty good from the get-go. I don't know if that's her temperament or her breeding, or I don't know, or just from the get-go we had like set boundaries, but when I think the couple of times that I'd come in, I think it was more like I was ready. I think she was ready for the next step in the training, and I was sort of trying to figure out what that next step was. And then after that session, I'd be like, okay, we have some clear objectives now. We're gonna go home and do this, or whatever. So that was nice.
What commands that you taught Winnie do you feel are the most useful?
Okay, for sure place, like that is that and kennel is super helpful. So like I said, I'm a musician. I teach early morning lessons, and so we have people coming in and out all the time. And she like is a very social dog. She loves every single person that comes in, and I'm understanding that not everybody is a dog person, because I wasn't. I just put her place in my harp room, and she sits at place, and sometimes she's dying to get off it, like her tail is wagging, and she's just, and once in a while a mom will be like, okay, and she'll get to go and snuggle with them. But she also, that's probably the most beneficial, because I feel like she gets to sit, and she'll just sit at the foot of the harps and listen. And she's become kind of like a little mascot, for my harp studio. So in fact, somebody gave her a Christmas present. I didn't, see, because I'm not a good dog parent, but my harp students gave her a Christmas present. So
Yeah.
I'm still learning. When your baby's like 1 and you're like, oh, you don't need anything yet for Christmas, it's fine. Or you need like this little thing or whatever. Next year I'll learn. I'll be better. But
it's fine. I'm sure a lot of those kids really love seeing her.
And
yeah,
your dog today could be Christmas if you want. They won't know the difference. So
I know, right? So yeah, so I'd say place. I love that the wait command at the door when we're coming in, especially since it's been so snowy and rainy. Like that's nice for me to say, like, wait, and then come through when I'm ready and can towel her off and stuff. So yeah, I would say those are my two. But sit is, I mean, we're not high quality, we don't have like shakedown or rollover or anything like that. But
in our minds, that's not high quality. So
yeah, we've done functional commands, right?
Yeah.
Tricks are fun,
we
but
have life ability commands that are super awesome. Like it's so good. Yeah. So.
And as you were talking about going through the training process and like coming into a session and being like, okay, now I know clearly what I'm supposed to be working on. For anybody that goes through any of the programs, even if they do it online, puppy, from all the way from bringing your dog home to that, all the way through advanced training. So after 5 months, and that takes until they're about 7 months, every week what you're supposed to be doing. Like, here's your focus.
Yeah.
Here's your focus.
Yeah. And I actually, the videos, I wasn't as good with the like later ones towards the end of the dog training ones, but the puppy ones, I watched all of them. Like, and then I'd be like, oh wait, I don't understand that. And I'd go back and watch it, so having access to those were super helpful. Like for the novice, no foundation dog owner that I was,
Yeah,
so that was nice.
You can go to it whenever you need it, right?
Yeah. In fact, I would like turn them on as I was, driving John to school. I wouldn't watch them. I just listen. So don't, no judgments, but I listened to them like podcast. And in fact, I think I listened to some of your podcasts as well. Like, okay, how do I bring my dog home? Or how do I, do this and that, and the other. So, yeah, so that was really helpful, especially in the puppy training stage. And it was also nice to know because I just remember thinking like, well, this is happening, and then it would almost coincide with 12 weeks or 13 weeks or whatever it was. It was great. So it's like you guys, you've dialed in the magic numbers of where it is.
I tried really hard to do that. So when you so you've been through this process, and thank you so much for coming on and talking about that. If somebody's sitting on the fence and they're like, man, should I do this? What advice would you give to them?
Well, okay, the way I just, because it is a cost, right? And that's the thing is, first of all, we're in a different situation. We got given the dog for free. And so I was sort of like, I have to invest in this dog in order to, you know, get what I want. I can't just assume that like it's going to know what to do, right? Because that's not, I don't know. I mean, we all had to learn somehow how what to do. And I just felt like it felt like a small amount in order to get something that, like you said, is going to be sustainable in our family. Otherwise, I think she would have been gone in the first month. Like, sad to say, but very true. Because
Well, no,
it
so
just wouldn't.
a lot of first-time dog owners, it's the same thing, because there is a big learning curve and there
Yeah.
is so much information out there. Not all of it is of the same value. In fact, there's a lot of
Yeah.
dog culture things out there that don't help at all.
And a
That
lot of it's
Yeah.
conflicting. Like, wait, they say one thing, they say another.
Yeah. But
So-
I don't know. I mean, it made sense. And like for my personality, you guys can edit this or not, but there was a book that I when my kids were babies called The Contented Little Baby Book. And it's like probably super controversial because it would say like at 12:22 you do this, and at 5 o'clock you do this. And it would just kind of give me confidence as a new parent, like, okay, this is how I can do this as a schedule. So this worked for me really well to have a schedule, like, okay, in these 2 weeks this is what we're going to do, and then it's going to change a little bit, and then it's going to evolve, and it made logical sense to me, so versus like, okay, well, what do you want to work on today? I don't know, let's try this. Okay, let's do this. Like, that doesn't build on each other. So I don't know, that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but that was mine for sure.
You have it laid out by ages, right? So this is what they need next.
Yeah.
They need next. And to build on your knowledge too, right? Because you can't just be told everything all at once.
No.
Even like training, like if you're training as a trainer and you're saying, okay, what's next? You find out that there's a basic pattern that 90% of dogs are going to follow. And so there's really no reason why you shouldn't have kind of like a structure, and it might change a little bit, right? It might,
there's wiggle room, there's adjusting for what it is, but it's nice to have a schedule of what you follow. I don't know. For me, that worked really well. And for our family, because we have so many things that in particular with John, but just things in general that don't follow a schedule, that something had to not be chaotic, and I think that my goal was for the dog to not add to the chaos, but to sort of be the one piece that's not chaotic in our life. So
well, that's awesome. I hope that it really has helped your family in that way, and so that there's maybe something that's less chaotic and helps with the chaos. And hope that Winnie is a great companion for John as well as the rest of your family.
Yeah, we're hoping. They are like, sometimes he is a little rough with her because he just doesn't understand, and then he'll turn around and give her a kiss on the nose, and then he'll turn around and scream in her face. And she I don't know if this is training or if it's personality, she's just chill. She'll just like take it all in stride, and
it can be a really tough situation for a dog, like in those situations. So so I do feel kind of guilty, and sometimes we give her a break from John. No, that's okay too, because she needs to know that she can go to you and not have to solve the problem herself. But that is a really awesome thing, to get a dog to the point where they can say, hey, this is the way it is. Because, and that's what's hard, is it's not always reliable for them in that situation. But a dog that can handle it is awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think I don't, like I said, I don't know if that's her personality and she would have always been able to handle it, or if it's like, I like to think it's the training that helped kind of give her her boundaries and her confidence, to deal with us. So
it's probably a little bit of both, to be totally honest.
It's a situation.
Yeah, I'd love to say it's all training, but but to be honest, dogs come with their different personalities and abilities as well. And so it's probably a little
Yeah.
bit of both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
Cool.
much for your time, and thank you
No
for
worries.
talking to us about your story. We love to hear about results like that, and love to hear people starting and new dog owners starting out and finding solutions and being able to have a well-trained dog.
You
I
did
mean,
a great job. Good job.
as a
with the work
first-time
you
dog
did.
owner, you may not know,
You guys did a great job, like telling us what to do. Thank you.
you may not know this, but you probably know more than 90% of dog owners as it is right now, just because of what you've been through the process.
Yep.
And as you go through life,
Okay.
you talk with other people, you'll start to figure that out. You'll be like, oh, I know what to do in this situation. You've learned a
I
lot.
know. Oh, thanks. Well, I still have lots of questions. So I keep texting you guys like, oh, what do I do here? How do I do this? And thank you for continually answering.
You bet.
So,
We're here for you.
yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thanks for being willing to take time to share with us. Awesome.
Yeah. No worries. Thanks.
Take care.